Welcome back, friends. For my podcast, I always hold an intention to help support you in different ways by offering different techniques to promote well-being. And in this episode, we're going to be discovering more about EFT, Emotional Freedom Technique, or what other people call tapping. I've used this technique numerous times and it really works, but just don't take my word for it. I have invited a special guest here today, Murielle Fellous, who is a life coach and an expert in the field of EFT. And through her own experiences of being a single mom and facing challenges, she has developed her own podcast, Co-Parenting with the Universe, focusing her passion and supporting moms around the world to provide guidance in building a cohesive family dynamic, which really fosters growth for all, which is a truly beautiful thing. So welcome, Murielle. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, April. Beautiful introduction. I loved it.
Yes, you're most welcome. Yeah, can you share with our listeners, those who are not familiar with you, a little bit about your background and how you came to start using EFT?
So my background is a lot of people always talk about finding their purpose. For me, it was more my purpose found me, because as soon as I remember being in high school and having drawing to me mostly girls in pain, and somehow having a soothing effect. And I didn't know yet what it was, but my teachers started applying to me, like connecting me with kids, teenagers in the class who were struggling. And because we were spending time together, their grades were going up. And that's something that I noticed throughout my life, growing up from teenagehood to womanhood, that I was drawing the people who were in pain, and somehow I had a soothing effect. The feedback was that I was not judging, and they felt safe expressing. And from there, being able to, being witnessed in their pain was somehow soothing, plus my energy. And so I started helping, and it developed with the years. When I became a single mom, my passion was self-development, self-empowerment. So I started studying, doing workshops. I started with Tony Robbins, then moved on to Louise Hay and her style, which is more spiritual, and having mentors like this. And I started coaching on the side. And at one point I said, okay, I might as well really dig into it, get certified as a coach, and learn as much as I can to make a business out of it on the side while I was a single mom. And that's what I did. I don't remember when I started tapping. It's probably 10, 12 years ago. I came across some tapping, and I tried it for myself, and it works so well. I didn't know yet about the science behind it, because nowadays there are hundreds of studies. And I noticed how it was calming down my nervous system, especially when my kids became teenagers and they started acting out in potential dangerous ways. I was in anxiety 24/7. I was waking up in the middle of the night with heart palpitations. And you live with intention, you know about intention. I had a hard time even switching from anxiety to a more neutral thought. I had to really involve my body in the process, calm down my nervous system before I could even think, not even positive, something more neutral. I had horrible scenarios in my mind of my kids dead in the street, having taken something at a party. So I started tapping. I was in depression and didn't even know it until I checked the signs of depression. And I started using tapping whenever I was waking up, whenever I was feeling anxious, and being able to come back to my center. I multiplied my spiritual practices, the ones I was giving to my clients. I multiplied by, I don't know, 5. And I started doing that. And slowly, I went back up to myself. And when I was on the other side of it, it had been so very debilitating and painful. I promised myself to switch gears into helping moms, because I wished I had something specialized for anxiety for moms when I was depressed. If I wasn't a coach and I had known all those tools, I don't know what would have happened. So in a short, that's the story behind it.
Yeah, that's very powerful. I love how you applied it for yourself first and foremost. And then you thought, let's bring this to my clients. You felt the shifts with that. For those who are new to EFT, can you give us a little bit more of what's happening? Like what do you do with this tapping thing?
So tapping is a combination of ancient wisdom, because we use the meridians that they use in acupuncture, the nervous and energy meridians in the body, and modern psychology. We use elements of exposure therapy, cognitive behavior therapy, Gestalt, and I also see that we mixed elements of NLP, neuro-linguistic programming. At least I do. And what it does, when we perceive a threat, whether it is a real threat, like it was when we were cavemen and cavewomen and a predator was running after us and we had to run or fight, there is a mechanism, a reaction, a part of the brain becomes active, the stress center, the amygdala, and it switches our biochemistry to fight, flight, or freeze, depending on what we needed to survive at the time. And that means that the blood that is normally going to the frontal cortex, the most recent part of the brain, the analyzing brain, is detoured to other parts of our body, so we are able to run faster, to fight. And it has a ripple effect on all of our physiology. I won't go into the details, but mainly we can think straight. Either we are seeing blank, when you have somebody, it's the same feeling as somebody is in your back, like your boss or somebody that has an authority figure for you, that is an authority figure for you, and you're looking at something on the computer, let's say, to find it, to show them you don't see it, it's in front of your eyes. So that's the same effect. Now, in our modern life, we don't have predators, hopefully, running after us, but we perceive our problems, life stresses as threats. And sometimes they're real, sometimes they're even only in our head. Yet our body is triggering the same biochemical reactions and sending messages to our body that it's time to fight or flight or freeze. So EFT intercepts that response in the body. And the way it works is, let's say you have a problem or even a topic in your life. Like if we talk about mothers, your teenagers are a source of stress with you. And you have associated your teenager with a high level of stress reaction in your body. For other people, it's money. It can be anything where there is a neural association of a stress reaction, whatever the stress is. When you tap, you send a message to your brain that I'm safe, you can calm down, while thinking about the problem. So soon enough, you associate a neutral, calmer nervous reaction to that matter, that person, or that problem. And that's how it works. And it literally has the potential to rewire the brain. Now, they have been doing hundreds and hundreds of scientific studies. I'm being certified now with clinical tapping, which is even deeper, to work with PTSD and people who have really serious problems. And the person who is an authority and works with the veterans in America is called Dawson Church. He has a website, EFT Universe, and there you can see all the studies that he conducted and others conducted as far as the impact of tapping on our nervous system, our hormones, our DNA even. So there is a lot of science behind it now.
Yeah, that's simply fascinating. I love all of that. I love neuroscience. I love understanding how our nervous system works. This is something that's not taught in school. This isn't something that we really need to know because it's our own bodies.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's fascinating to me too, because we have such a potential with knowing how to use our body and our brain to really live the life that we really want to live. And not only on a physiological level, on an energy level too, because if you are in stress, or if you are anxious, or if you are angry, I always describe energy as an elevator. That's the floor you stop at. And that's what you're matched with. You're attracting more people, topics, situations that will resonate with anger. So when you first address the body, you can then, it can be a stepping stone to vibrate higher and manifest and attract and all those yummy things that we can do.
Yes. And I like how in the beginning you talked about when you're working with the youth, when you were in school, it was about the trust. So really coming back to trusting ourselves, trusting in the process. And I invite all of my listeners here who are new to EFT or just kind of scratching their head of, well, how can this even work? You know, how can this dissolve all my problems type of thing? Just to have an open, curious mind and explore, because this is something that you physically can do with your body instead of pausing and meditating for 20 minutes, because a lot of people, when we're in fight or flight, we can't even pause. It's you're agitated or you're at a lower depressed state where you don't even feel like doing anything, or you're high, that hyper activated state, that fight or flight type of thing. So I invite you all to just pause and be open and curious as we explore here with Murielle. I hope that we can do a round of tapping together. Yeah, so we can see it in
I would
action.
love that. Yeah. And it's not that the problem will be completely dissolved. Sometimes it happens though, but it's first of all, you're going to have access to your inner resources, because the brain is going to start work. Your whole brain is going to start to work again with you to finding a solution. And so you'll access your resources basically, and you'll change the story you tell yourself about the problem, because two people can go through the same thing, but they tell themselves a different story, and that's how they are more able or unable to meet with the challenge. So it's a combination of factors, really.
Okay, well, let's begin.
Okay, so for people who are listening to this on audio, I'm going to describe the points, and I guess they will be able to refer to your video, or if they want to continue listening to your audio and just have a visual, they can go to liveeft.com, and I have a silent demonstration that they can follow what they're going to repeat. What we need to do is to really dig into a situation that triggers us. Let's stop on something. I'm going to be kind of general, so it can be beneficial for everyone. But in your head, pick something very specific, because the more specific you are, the better it's going to work. So let's say you have a problem with a person. Think about your problem and give it a title. You have a problem with something stressing you. Give a title to your story. Find that story in you, and really, if you have to pause the episode and go inward, see yourself living the problem or the story, whatever is going on, until you can feel a reaction of stress in your body or an emotion. So some people are very good at putting a label on what they feel, others are not, and that's okay. when I work with men, it's harder somehow for men to connect with their emotions. So connect with what you feel in the body. Is it a tightness? Where is it located? And on the scale of 0 to 10, 0 being I don't feel anything, then you need to pause and really dig if you want to feel the effect. And 10 is like it's overwhelming. You want to be at a 5 or higher. So really pick something that disturbs you. It doesn't have to be a life problem. It can be just something that's annoying to you right now, a problem that you have. And notice what number are you at. So I'll ask you, for example, if you want to share, it's okay. If you don't want to share, we'll stay general, but what number are you at now?
Okay, for me?
So I'm going to take you. I'm going to take you as my guinea pig.
Yeah,
We'll demonstrate with you.
I will say a 7.
Great.
I'm at a 7.
Okay. And where do you feel the reaction in your body?
Yeah, I feel it in my stomach.
Okay. And does it have a color? Sometimes you're able to give it a color, sometimes you're not.
Yeah, it's kind of a reddish orange. Feels very heavy. Yeah, it's just sitting right there in my solar plexus area.
Okay. And do you want me to be like that problem, or do you want to give it a title? Whatever is okay for you to experience that.
So for me, I'm very transparent here. My listeners know that. So I have a lot of frustration about this illness I'm getting over.
Okay.
And I want to do so many things and podcasts and all that, but I need to pause and just allow this to flow through myself. So I'm really feeling that in my solar plexus, the frustration, the heaviness of just being weighted down, not being able to be expansive and explore where we're parked right now.
So if we were calling it that illness, would that resonate?
Yes.
Okay. So what we're going to do for the audience, we're going to start with what we call an anchoring statement. And we're going to take our forefinger of one hand and tap on the other hand below the pinky on the flesh there. And we're going to repeat a statement 3 times. I will say the statement and April will repeat. I remind you, stay specific with your problem. Okay. Even though I'm struggling with that illness right now,
even though I'm struggling with this illness right now,
I am ready to accept and love myself anyway.
I'm ready to accept and love myself anyway.
Even though I have that illness bothering me right now,
even though this illness is bothering me right now,
I'm willing to love and accept myself anyway.
I'm willing to love and accept myself anyway.
Even though I have that illness bothering me,
even though I have this illness bothering me,
I'm willing to love and accept myself completely.
I'm willing to love and accept myself completely.
Now tap with 3 fingers on the top of the head. That illness.
That illness.
Now we're going to tap at the beginning of the eyebrow on the nose bridge. That illness in my body.
The illness in my body.
Now on the side of the eye, on the corner of the eye, on the bone. That illness that is bothering me.
The illness that's bothering me.
Under the eye, on the bone, in the middle, that annoying illness.
This annoying illness, it sure is.
Under the nose, between nose and mouth, that stupid, annoying illness.
The stupid, annoying illness is so frustrating.
Under the mouth, on the crease, that frustrating illness that is lingering in my body.
This frustrating illness that's lingering in my body.
Under the collarbone, on the flesh, at the end of the collarbone, below the throat. That illness that is preventing me to do what I want.
Yes, this illness that's preventing me to do what I want.
Under the arm at the bra line, that illness in my body.
this illness in my body.
On the head again, top of the head. I can't say that I accept it.
I can't say that I accept it.
On the eyebrow, I can't really accept how long it takes.
Yeah, I can't say it's taken too long.
Side of the eye, it's taking too long and it's in my way.
It's in my way, this illness.
Under the eye, it is so frustrating.
It's so frustrating.
Under the nose, all that frustration in my stomach.
All this frustration I'm feeling in my stomach.
All that yellow, orangey frustration in my solar plexus, right? That was the solar plexus.
All this reddish orange frustration I'm holding in my solar plexus right now.
Collarbone, it is there in my solar plexus right now.
It's there in my solar plexus right now.
Under the arm, it's at a 7. It's pretty high.
Yeah, I feel the 7.
Top of the head, that frustration in my stomach right now.
This frustration in my stomach right now.
Eyebrow, that frustration in my stomach.
This frustration in my stomach.
Side of the eye, that frustration in my stomach about this illness.
This frustration of this illness that I'm feeling in my stomach.
Under my eye, that frustration that forces me to slow down.
The frustration that forces me to slow down. Yes.
Under the nose, I don't like being forced to slow down like that.
I don't like being forced to slow down. This heaviness I'm feeling.
And under the mouth,
Yes.
This heaviness in my stomach.
This heaviness in my stomach.
Collarbone, I don't like this heaviness in my stomach.
Yes, I do not like this heaviness in my stomach.
Under the arm, it's justified because I can do what I want.
Yeah, it's justified because I can't do what I want.
But what if I could let it go?
If I could let it go.
No, I'm not ready yet. Eyebrow.
I'm not feeling that yet. Yes.
Side of the eye, I'm not ready yet to let it go.
Not ready yet to let it go.
Under the eye, but does it help me anyway, this frustration?
How does this frustration help me?
Under the nose, is it really helping?
Is it really helping?
Under the mouth, it probably has a purpose or had a purpose.
Probably had a purpose in the beginning.
Collarbone, it
Yes.
served its purpose now. Were you able to find the purpose?
Yeah, the frustration I was feeling about not wanting to get sick.
That frustration about not wanting to get sick.
Yeah.
That resistance under the arm.
Yes,
that resistance in me.
It was resistance.
Top of the head. And I know what we resist persists.
What we resist persists.
Eyebrow. So I choose to let it go now.
I choose to let it go now.
Side of the eye. At least some of it.
At least some of it. Actually, as soon as I said that before at the collarbone, I could feel it already starting to move. So it's already starting to move.
It's starting to move and leave my body.
It is. It's leaving my body.
And I choose to let it go completely.
I choose to let it go completely.
Under the mouth, because it doesn't serve me.
Because it does not serve me.
Collarbone, because I love myself. I let it go.
Because I love and appreciate myself, I let it go.
I choose me, therefore I let it go.
I choose me, therefore I let it go.
And now it's top of the head. I'm letting it go completely.
Now it's gone completely.
Now stop tapping, take a deep breath. Go back to thinking about your illness, your problem. For the audience, your own problem. And where are you now from 0 to 10?
Maybe a 2.
So 2 is pretty low and it's more tolerable. If you wanted to, you could go to a 0 by continuing tapping. What I do with clients after we get things out of the way, I do a round of tapping to install something like an intention, something that I open to. For my audience, I talk a lot about opening to the assistance of the universe, and I leave it this way. Whatever form it's going to take, I'm open to the assistance of the universe. If people, because what can happen too is that when you focus on a problem, the intensity of the feeling, of the emotion, of the sensation in the body can go higher. And if that's the case for some listeners, go back to the beginning of the tapping and tap again until it goes down. And if you feel that there is some still left over and you don't have time to work with it now, actually, let's do it together so they'll know what to do.
Okay.
Tap on the head. Even though I didn't have time to work on all of it today.
Even though I didn't have time to work with all of it today.
Eyebrow point. I did a lot of, I got a lot of progress.
I had a lot of progress.
Side of the eye. I'm happy with the results today.
I'm happy with the results today.
Under the eye. And I trust that I can put it aside for now.
And I trust that I can put it aside for now.
Under the nose. It is safe to put that aside for now.
It is safe to put it aside for now.
Under the mouth. I will work with it later when I decide to.
I will work with it later when I decide to.
Collarbone. All is well now. I'm putting it aside.
All is well now. I'm putting it aside.
Under the arm. And I even give permission to the universe to resolve it without my involvement.
I even give permission to the universe to resolve it without my involvement. How awesome is that?
Top of the head. And so it is.
And so it is.
Take a deep breath. That's what I always do, because sometimes we work on something and we think we have to do everything. But when we surrender and leave it to the universe, it can disappear completely, or some solution can fall on our laps. I've seen it so many times in my life and in my clients' lives.
Yes, yes. And I like that it's, I've acknowledging, I think the big thing. I love how you did the rounds of how it's feeling, what's happening, this resistance, what I'm holding on to, and then reframing it to it's not serving me, and, you know, acknowledging that, and then acknowledging that we can let go.
Yeah.
We can let go and allow whomever your higher power is.
Yes.
To help support. And just by vocalizing and saying what you're feeling, also for me, all over these years, it's those ruminating thoughts of, oh my gosh, how long am I going to be sick? This is so frustrating. I'm tired of blowing my nose, and, you know, all these things. And then breaking that loop by acknowledging that, yeah, I am feeling a little ease. Maybe it's not 100%, but
yes.
I'm feeling ease here. I'm okay. It's okay, you know, and tapping through those points.
Yeah. It's the reframing, because even as it's not so much about the problem, it's what we're telling ourselves all day long. And even blowing the nose, how annoying it can be. But when I think about that, because I was sick not so long ago with a sinus infection, how marvelous is it that the body knows how to do that? I mean, it knows how to evacuate. So although it's not such pleasurable to do, but it's wonderful. It's all about changing the story, and then you react differently and you open the door. I love opening the door to the magic of a higher power, because there is really magic and miracles there.
Yes, exactly. And it reminds me of the old saying, you know, we don't see things as they are, we see things as we are. So
Yes.
when we're in that lower vibration and victim mode, or, just without being able to have resources within us or forgetting them, and that lower frequency, that's what we're going to keep thinking about. So giving us something to do, to focus on, to empower ourselves too, by
Yes.
speaking and releasing.
And something that we can believe, because if you were saying it disappear, it's disappearing, my problem is disappearing, it could be that you would have resistance and you would say, no, that's not true. So it's not really going to sink in. When you say things like, I'm releasing, I'm letting go, you're in control of that. So it's believable. And you open yourself. And in most cases, what I see with my clients, when we start saying it's leaving my body at least a little bit, more times than ever, the bulk of it, like 90%, is leaving. So it's just giving ourselves permissions and remembering that we can do that.
Yes. And it's all energy.
Yes.
It's all energy. So I love that I could feel it, and I witnessed it, I objectified it, and then tapping through it, feeling it kind of shift up through me.
Yeah.
That was truly amazing. Thank you.
Oh, you're
Murielle.
welcome. My pleasure.
I'm feeling better already.
Yeah, I'm happy I could help you do that.
Yes, wonderful. And through my experiences with EFT, I did my research too, and this meridian that we're tapping on, for everyone to realize, this is your heart meridian. So when we're tapping and we're activating here on that meaty part and doing the setup statement, we're really connecting to our hearts, things that we have grievances to, things that we feel that are getting in our way. And that's holding here, right? And no wonder it was more of a chest cold thing that I was having, right? And then it settled in my solar plexus. So me having this grievance about hating to be sick, not being able to do what I want to do and experience life the way I want it to. So it's my mind saying, resisting what is.
Yes.
And saying, no,
Yes.
you should be over here. You should be doing these things, or whatever that is for you, for each of you as a listener, focusing on that problem. It's our mind that gets in the way, and it keeps us out of our bodies and connected with what's really physically happening here, because this is our container that holds everything for us on this plane.
And it's even, I have a meditation that I used to have in my freebie, which is like an octopus meditation, because the fact that you're resisting, you're allocating a portion of your energy to that resistance, which, if you free that, could be allocated to healing. So it's like unhooking the octopus, unhook all your energy leaks to allocate them where it's more beneficial for you.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Most definitely. Well, this has just been, I've been tapping for years, but having somebody to help me walk through it. And I could tell you were keying into my frustration and the resistance I was holding for it, right? So that is so helpful. So Murielle, can you please share your contact information for those who want to go deeper, who feel that they want to continue this journey with you, or even life coaching and other resources that you have for others?
So everything is at coparentingwiththeuniverse.com. There is my podcast. I have a YouTube channel with a playlist of tapping scenarios. Most of them are triggered towards parents and moms, because that's my audience now. But I had a few about COVID at the time. I have some other ones. And even though the bulk of my clientele are moms, I also have I have people who come for relationships and stuff like that. So if they feel that they resonate with me and they would really want to talk to me and they're not a parent, don't hesitate at all. And it's a totally stress-free, You can do a complementary tapping session, like, so you can experience it stress-free, no push. Then you do whatever you want after that.
Wonderful. Yes. And it's such a easy, free, something free that we can do for ourselves. That's what I love, right? It puts us in the driver's seat.
In the moment, if
Mhm.
somebody really annoys you, you go to the bathroom and you're like letting go of your frustration so you can communicate more non-violently.
Yes.
Healthier.
Yes. Well, thank you, Murielle. It's been a pleasure to have you.
Thank you.
Yes. And I hope you all give EFT a try. Again, I'm inviting you to have an open curiosity of, gee, what else do I have to lose, right? And you're really learning more about yourself and connecting back to you as you continue your journey on living with intention. So until next time, be well, my friends, and thank you for joining. And I will see you next time.